We still have a handful of issues to resolve, but there is no reason for us to wait weeks to get this bill on the floor.
I'm Kevin Cirilli. It's time for the Daily Debrief. Let's get right to it. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is telling Republicans that there doesn't appear to be a clear path forward on immigration and supplemental aid. It's the first major sign of an acknowledgement from McConnell's camp about the lack of consensus, not just between Democrats and Republicans, but within the GOP caucus. McConnell's orbit has been battling former President Donald Trump for weeks now, in a dynamic similar to the House Freedom Caucus going against House Speaker Mike Johnson. That old Washington adage is proving to be true. Nothing much gets done during an election year. The U.S. military says it shot down 2 of the 3 Houthi terrorist missiles fired at a U.S. warship in the Red Sea. There were no injuries in the latest attack from the Iran-backed terrorist group, according to the U.S. Meanwhile, United Nations officials say that 12 people were killed in a shelter that's housing thousands of people in Gaza. Israel is denying responsibility for the attack. Peter Navaro gets sentenced today in federal court. The longtime former advisor to Donald Trump defied a congressional subpoena to testify before the January 6th committee. He was convicted of 1 count of contempt of Congress last September. Steve Bannon faced similar charges and was sentenced to 4 months behind bars, but he's appealing. Navaro could likely face a similar sentencing. Federal Aviation Authority officials have released new instructions for inspecting Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes. The announcement comes after grounding 200 planes following the blown-out door on the Alaska Airlines flight earlier this year. In order for any of the planes to be back in the skies, they're going to first have to undergo a 12-hour inspection. CNBC is reporting that Nikki Haley donors are growing increasingly skeptical of her continuation to stay in the race. Reid Hoffman, a prominent Haley billionaire donor, has reportedly put his money on hold for the Haley campaign, but she's still continuing to push onward. Her campaign said earlier that she raised $1 million after her New Hampshire speech. And then there's this. Yesterday, I spoke with Joe Cunningham. He's the director of No Labels, the ballot access group pushing for a so-called unity ticket in the presidential election.
Well, I would say more because, we've been very straightforward this entire time that if America wants another choice, we're going to offer it to them. And that's why we've been working hard to secure ballot access across the country. We're on 14 states and building every single week.
My other 2 takeaways from the interview: No Labels is openly courting Nikki Haley. Cunningham told me that one of the No Labels founders, the independent former Senator Joe Lieberman, called Nikki Haley after the New Hampshire primary to offer her accolades on her performance. Secondly, No Labels says that they will announce their decision on whether or not they're going to run a ticket after the March 5th Super Tuesday contest, but they will do so no later than March 15th. Look, I've covered No Labels for a while now, and without question, they will become a significant factor in this race heading into March, whether you agree with them or not. And as Haley continues her campaign, she will continue an effort to try to mobilize the hundreds of thousands of conservatives who want to move away from Trump. But whether that same contingency of voters would be enough to elect a so-called unity ticket, and whether those never Trumpers even want a unity ticket and have a Democrat on that ticket, still remains unknown. Cunningham seems to preview the group's thinking. They're not trying to win 50% of the electorate vote. What they are trying to do is to win a mid-30% of the electorate vote, arguing that there will be 2 other tickets on the ballot. Will it work? Who knows? But I will be sure to keep you posted. 21 million Americans enrolled in the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. That is a new record. This is the 3rd year in a row that they've set a record. And Obamacare is going to be a key issue in the upcoming elections. Former President Donald Trump says that he would repeal it. President Biden heads to Duluth, Minnesota to tout the Inflation Reduction Act. The U.S. Department of Transportation announced that they are giving $1.06 billion in federal funding for a bridge between Duluth and Superior, Wisconsin. Biden won Minnesota in 2020, but it's gotten a bit redder in recent years. Biden needs to win Minnesota to keep the White House. Hillary Clinton had a lot to say about Barbie. Ryan Gosling got nominated for an Academy Award for his portrayal of Ken, the Barbie doll, in the movie, but Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig, they were not nominated. The former Secretary of State posted on X that both Robbie and Gerwig are more than Ken-uff. What do you think? Should they have been nominated for the Barbie flick? Quite honestly, I don't like to dabble in Academy Award politics. Let me know in the comments. And that's it for today's Daily Debrief. My name is Kevin Cirilli. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel, and come back here soon for more politics and policy.